come back to a lot of these points.
I'm going to pivot to Julie in just a second to talk a bit more about recruitment. But I think Tom and Sinead, you've both raised the really interesting question of what is the student experience when they go abroad. And so Sinead, you talked about students coming to ENSTA and then suddenly realizing how very important French actually is for them to be able to navigate not just the environment but the academic program and the things that will determine their success or failure relatively in that context. And Tom, you're saying that that students, it would be with these university alliances that we're all forming, so for Sinead, it's Institut Polytechnique de Paris. For you, for us at CentraleSupélec, it's Université Paris-Saclay. It's a general phenomenon across Europe that institutions are now kind of pooling resources and coming together with these multilingual, multicultural, intercultural ideals, and it raises this, elephant in the castle. I like the expression, Tom, not just in the room, in the whole castle, of what are we trying to do with EMI? English is then just the lingua franca, the lingua franca. How do we position that? Tom, if you want to respond.
Well, it's a lingua. If we remove some of the nobility of English, perhaps then the conversation will be easier, because we tend to talk about it's like the only solution. It's a solution which happens to be the one that suits most people, but it doesn't have to be the only solution. And so English is just a means. It's a medium. That's all. And so in other situations, perhaps German will be the medium of instruction for certain categories of exchanges. But I think removing English with a small e maybe would be a solution.
Nice. I like it. I'll take it. English with a small e.
Obviously, there's the again, coming back to pragmatism. We have to be pragmatic about it. We can't. So how do we are pragmatic in creating EMI. We're pragmatic in offering EMI, but then we're also socially engaged, and therefore including in any program, in any syllabus, aspects of other languages, including what Sinead was talking about, which is the language that you need to actually survive, and more than survive. I mean, survival's not enough. It's actually having fun with foreigners. Okay?
Thriving, yeah. No, that's great. That's exactly it. Julie, do you want to talk a little bit about recruitment and contextualize all this in terms of recruitment?
Yes, I mean, picking up on those points, pragmatism is in many ways what it's all about, because I think that EMI fosters multilinguistic and multicultural environment and attitude very much. At least that's what we've seen. I mean, CentraleSupélec is a bit like a cottage industry compared to the mighty universities, but we are part of a university now. But we have been able to put in place a strong EMI policy, all the while encouraging and creating a very multilingual campus and program. Because, for example, second language, which we call LV2, is compulsory for our students. Students expect to speak English and another language and French if it's their mother tongue. So it's for an environment. We've created an environment that's particularly welcoming, I think, for students, and certainly in my experience for students abroad. We have mobility agreements. The students have to do a minimum of 6 months mobility. So, of course, we have to put in place agreements where our partner universities insist on balance. So we have to be extremely attractive to overseas and international students. We've also, thanks to the EMI policy that we put in place in the school, which means that all the classes in the the whole curriculum in the first and second year, which, as Sinead pointed out, is the third and fourth year of higher education, because we're a grande école engineering school too, and our students come in mainly via a competitive exam after prépa. Some come in from the university if they're particularly high achieving. And then, of course, we have a large percentage of international students. So when I travel for mobility, the first question always asked is, are the courses in English? And now I can say, in full honesty, which was not the case several years ago, I can say, yes, they are. However, French classes are available and indeed compulsory if you come in as an exchange or a double degree student. And you will love that because it'll make you part of the whole fabric, the extracurricular and social fabric of the campus, guaranteed accommodation as well. So those are the two big sellers when it comes to encouraging overseas and international students to come to us and maintain fluidity of balance. We've also... Sorry,
no, so just to give a bit more context, Julie and I have been quite lucky at CentraleSupélec because we were given, way back in 2010, time and space in our workload models to help develop an EMI program, and so now our students who come, like there's about 25% of the teaching that happens in English, and so an international student who comes in can do the whole curriculum in English. They may not get the exact choices and combination of courses that they'd like, but they can do the whole curriculum in English.
Also, I should add, given the general linguistic support, they will, especially if they're double degree students and they've been here for a while, they will eventually choose to do courses in French. Because I would say all of them, bar none, it's an exceptional student that doesn't want to become fluent in French while living in France and studying at a French educational establishment. And it's true that when I first arrived at Centrale, we had how can I put it, English classes for scientific teachers, which were great fun, and we got to know each other. Didn't exactly prepare them for teaching in English. So then Divya arrived and started, doing things quite seriously, but we had developed that sense of trust between the language department and the scientific department. So we were able to discuss this very much on a pragmatic but a friendly basis and persuade people who one would never have thought would be keen to teach in English, but also encourage their own teams and their teachers to bite the bullet and take classes in English. We're great fans of the preemptive pep talk. In my classes, I say, okay, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to like it, and if you don't, you're going to tell me. Our scientific colleagues will say, okay, I'm going to teach you in English. Welcome to the international students. I may not speak English quite as well as you do, but you go to Cambridge or Harvard and you'll find teachers who don't speak English as well as I do. That's the way it is. We have a global educational network with professors from every corner of the globe teaching in English, and they're much more prepared to accept that. And we also have a recruitment policy where we will ensure that teachers are not only able but willing to teach their courses in things I don't even know about, like heat transfer and aeronautics, in English.